April 3rd Irmo Planning Commission meeting to order. We do have a quorum tonight. We'll go ahead and we'll have the invocation. Please bow. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather together this day. We ask for your hand of blessing on this meeting. We ask that you would guide and direct our meetings so that it is full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Thank you for helping us to accomplish our work and our goals this day. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone's received a copy of the minutes from the March 6 meetings. Are there any deletions or additions to the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written? A second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, none. The ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, we're going to move right along to new business. The first item is consideration of rezoning request, Richland County TMS number 03300-0803 and portion of lot 16 as well, located on Salem Church Road, Irmo, from fringe agricultural to general commercial. If this is what I'm thinking, this is one that we originally included as overall PDD, part of a larger development that was going along Salem Church Road with residential. I see Mr. Milliken here. Mr. Milliken, is there anything you'd like to add to this before we carry on? Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Tom Milliken. I'm with the NAI event. I apologize, I have a little laryngitis.
Certainly.
Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission, I'm here representing the David Baltnight Trust, of which David Baltnight is trustee. The Baltnights own 4 tracts of land north of the railroad, 2 of which are already zoned commercial, and the other 2 which are contiguous to the 2 that are zoned, or the 2 we're requesting to change the zoning to general commercial. These parcels border Tractor Supply and Chick-fil-A, across from Palmetto House. Basically everything on that side of the railroad is zoned commercial, as I think y'all have maps up there. Mr. Baltnight annexed into Irmo quite a few years ago. Even though they had lots of opportunities over the years to sell this tract, they've sat on it, and the family's finally made a decision to sell it after over 100 years of ownership and many, many requests for to sell it for various opportunities. Anyway, I'm here to answer any questions if anybody has any about this. Salem Church Road. See, it's contiguous to 2 other tracts that are owned by the family that front own Salem Church Road. So hopefully we'll end up with something in the neighborhood of around 11, 12 acres of commercial property that would be accessed off of Salem Church Road.
I'm curious, what was the decision to go back to removing them from the overall PDD? Did you just feel like it was a better zoning to go general commercial for that area?
Well,
I knew we had portion residential.
Came before y'all originally with a PDD.
Right.
And we were informed that I think there were some complications with council as far as trying to do a PDD, and it was recommended that we go through with our residential zoning, which we did on the 55 acres south of the railroad, and to come back and do a straight commercial zoning on the these 2 pieces. I think that's correct.
So all of this triangular area now will be contiguous and marketed as one piece and all zoned the same?
All be zoned general commercial. Right now we have 2 back pieces. I have maps if y'all don't have maps.
Yeah.
Is there a plan to combine the lots currently?
It would be one parcel. It's all owned by the same family. All the tracts are owned by heirs of either the Baltimore Trust or heirs of the Baltimore Knights, all of which have signed the application for rezoning.
To be developed all as one parcel.
I mean, I can't sit here tonight and say that it would definitely be sold as one parcel, but that would be the plan. Would be to have it zoned as one commercial tract. And, but I couldn't sit here tonight and say, yes, it's gonna be sold as one parcel, because it hadn't been offered.
You'd have to do something, or it'd be landlocked, so there'd have to be some kind of easement provided in there.
Correct.
If they were not
If you didn't.
combined.
Yeah, if the two pieces that are now zoned commercial, were sold as commercial and the other pieces were not rezoned,
Right.
that's exactly correct. They would have no access and would just be.
Did they purchase or did someone sell the Derrick, garage apartment that's contiguous here?
It did sell.
Okay, and it
The
did
piece
not-
next door you're talking about, the
Yeah.
contiguous piece. Yes, sir, it has sold.
And it's not involved with what?
No, sir, it's not involved in this. Our company represented the sale of that, but it is in no way connected.
Okay, so it's just, you have just that access there on the corner on Salem Church Road.
Yes, sir. We go all the way down. There's one vacant house next to Tractor, or next to Chick-fil-A, actually, that is the only piece that's not involved in this one, in this rezoning. Yeah, if we weren't rezoned commercial, weren't able to tie those two pieces in, they would basically just be out in space. They would have,
Right.
Well, and it's already surrounded, at least on three sides, by general commercial anyway, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Any additional questions for Mr. Milliken? Does anybody want to put forth a motion?
I'd like to put forward a motion to accept consideration of A.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? We have a motion to move forward with granting general commercial. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you
Thank
very
y'all.
much, Mr. Milliken.
appreciate it.
Right. That brings us to our next item, review of annexation petition for Richland County TMS 04000-02-12, located at 10070 Broad River Road, Irmo, requesting general commercial zoning, Midlands Group, and this tract is also contiguous to GC. Before a motion is placed, is there anyone here that's speaking on behalf of this annexation request? Okay, all right. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
I have a question.
Okay, well, let me get a second first, and then we'll have discussion. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, any discussion?
Do we know if the rezoning request under Richland County had been previously attempted?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Has this parcel been attempted to be rezoned through Richland County prior to this annexation request?
I have no way of knowing that, I don't know.
Okay.
It's certainly in a business corridor along Broad River. I think the next door neighbor is the new air conditioning shop, right? Okay.
Yeah, this is the old barbecue restaurant site that burned down 20 years ago.
Yes, I was thinking that was it. Yeah, I remember
And
that.
and then there's the vacant land next door is already, I mean, it is a commercial strip, no question about that. You know, part of the reason for my asking this is that really, to me, the whole area should be annexed in, you know,
Bit by bit.
yeah. But
We'll take it in.
I don't have any objection to the way they're being done, it's just it doesn't make sense for it to be done piece by piece when, an effort to get it all done properly. I just don't know how that one didn't get zoned that way, is what I'm trying to say. But, sorry.
Any other discussion? have a motion and a second. Mr. Leonard, would you mind repeating that motion? Was it a motion to approve?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have our second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. And I meant to read this, but prior to this, we've got 3 annexation requests in a row. That was the first of 3. I want to read this just so Planning Commission understands their authority when we do annex. And this is from Article 1, talking about establishing zoning districts and additions to the official zoning map, i.e. annexation. So wherever any petition for the annexation of any area to the town of Irmo pursuant to the provisions of any procedure for annexation now or hereafter authorized under the laws of South Carolina is presented to town council, the council shall, upon acceptance of such petition, refer same to the Planning Commission for a recommended zoning designation. The Planning Commission shall review the petition in relation to the applicant's request for a specific zoning designation, if any, the town's comprehensive plan, present use, and surrounding development, and shall recommend an appropriate zoning classification based on available alternatives from the compliance index of the comprehensive plan. The recommended zoning classification for the subject property shall accompany the petition for annexation and shall be brought before the town council as a single ordinance, providing for both the annexation and the zoning of the subject property. I read that because one thing I want to make sure everybody understands is when we have annexation requests or petitions brought in front of us, that when they're coming to us with a preferred zoning designation doesn't mean we have to accept that annexation based solely on that requested classification. Thank you.
We don't have to say yes or no to their request.
We can
say
recommend.
Yes, since we're a recommending body, we can recommend what we feel.
That is exactly right. So, and I wanted to say that, I'm sorry, I meant to read that prior to item B here, but, so I just wanted everybody to be clear on that. We'll move to C, and this is, these actually, C and D, I believe they're 2 separate landowners, but both the lots are contiguous to each other.
That's correct.
Okay. C, review of annexation, and we'll treat these separately. Review of annexation petition for Richland County TMS number 03302-01-05, located on Drew Shoals Road, Irmo, requesting general commercial zoning. Before we get into a motion and discussion, do we have anybody here representing the landowner that wants to make any comments? All right, do I have a motion?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll start the discussion off. This is on Drew Shoals Road. This is leading up to Valentine. I would love to have the parcels come into the town of Irmo, but they're asking for general commercial, and there is no general commercial anywhere around these parcels. It's all rural. There's one tiny tip that touches one of the, I think it's this parcel, that was actually fringe agricultural that we just recommended PDD a meeting or 2 ago. But again, and Mr. Baltnight's property that they're going to build out all these houses, I think are going to push right up to these parcels as well. So again, it's general commercial in the middle of rural.
I mean, if my memory is correct, that what was approved previously is north of 0201 is the new approved subdivision area. That's
Northeast, I believe.
Northeast
Yep.
there, that's residential at that point.
That's correct.
Every other parcel up to, but not including the parcel next to Walgreens, which is Richland County Commercial.
That is general commercial. That's the closest
That's the
GC
closest
on that
GC on
side.
there.
Yep, yep.
And I'm gonna go back to the Richland County concept of town and country, which in theory designated that the commercial is limited to within near intersections. I don't know, and that kind of goes back to what I asked earlier, is if this was requested to Richland County, what might they have done? Okay, and I would think that they may have questioned it because it is completely surrounded by residential.
Rural, really, right now,
Right.
rural. Yeah, there's
And-
nothing out there.
And so it just doesn't appear to be a good fit for me.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, I'm looking at maybe residential at a minimum. And a point was brought up to me earlier today that, you know, by going to general commercial, that really cuts down the requirements that, on what the petitioner must bring to the planning commission. They can put anything they want to out there. Now, it's also, and please, staff, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the same group of individuals that are developing the PDD that we just approved a couple of weeks ago?
It is, that's my understanding.
Okay, and that's my understanding as well. So,
Or wouldn't it have been part of the PDD and you get multi-use out of it?
well, I can't answer that. Yeah.
How is it that we incorporate such topics like providing services, police, water, sewer, whatever, to that nature, to that area? How does that play into our conversation here? What? Nothing.
It's their responsibility, I mean, so we would have really no input in that.
Because if I remember if I'm thinking about the correct area, the topo is a little challenging also too to
It
develop.
drops off a good bit as it goes down closer to the lake, where the lake comes into.
Actually, some ponds, very old ponds that have filled in over the years on this site as well, and at least 25% of it is a basin drainage area at the bottom. But as far as use goes, that's a different topic, really.
Any further discussion?
What would our, can we request that, I don't know how to say this, okay, totally over my head.
Okay.
Um,
We'll all help each other out.
I'm wanting to know what our other choices are, so that we can sit and discuss and determine what would be more appropriate.
Well,
Not without just rushing through it.
sure. Well, I guess there's a few options on the table, and Bob, please, 3 options on the table. One is where we are right now. We've got a motion and a second to approve.
Well, the thing is, no, you're discussing it now, so you can make a recommendation to council saying you don't think general commercial is appropriate for this piece of property. The reason it's on there like that is because that's what the owner requested.
Right.
And because it was signed by an individual petition holder, it wasn't like we were out doing a petition 75-25.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, you've only got 3 zoning options, I would think. I mean, you can prove that, you can go to fixed, fringe agricultural, because it is out in the middle of nowhere, but they want to develop it, so that's not gonna be appropriate.
RS.
And then you've got RS and RG.
Okay.
You've got general residential, which would give them, allow them more density.
Okay.
But then residential, single family, but not as much as general commercial.
Certainly.
What's the total acreage
Total acreage,
estimate?
I don't have it.
Oh, yeah, I put it on there, 48 acres.
About 48 acres?
Total.
And our ordinance does not have
It's on the map.
our ordinance does not have like a holding pattern zoning, or is that the fringe agricultural for?
For what it is right now, and that's pretty much what it is now for our in-town zoning. It's just rural, fringe agricultural farmland.
So we could potentially amend the motion with a recommendation to council for a different zoning designation, just as I was speaking about earlier, RS, RG, okay, or accept it as it's coming to us.
I mean, Gregory, you got an opinion? I mean, I know they want to develop it, and that's the reason they were asking for general commercial. They're trying to cram a whole bunch of houses in there.
Right, and
With the smaller lots.
yeah, and frankly, you know, those are good in some areas, and we have those already, and we may have some in the future, but I don't want it to be everything.
Oh, that's what they're doing next door to it in the
Yep.
PDD is also the same thing.
But it opens the door limitation because we don't have enough zoning types, or whatever the reason is, but it's opening the door that I can only speak for myself, that I don't want to see open. I don't think it's for the benefit of the community to open that door. Then they'll walk in the door and say, we're gonna build this, and you won't be able to stop.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, but what were you thinking?
I mean, that's a valid point. The intention may be that they're wanting the general commercial because it allows them the flexibility of having that higher residential density, but it also opens the door for any type of commercial activity along that corridor. And I know that there's probably gonna be some limitations when you think about access along that road, whether it's a higher density residential or a commercial facility, because you would need some type of curb cut in there without any kind of intersection. So,
And I see there's no one to speak for them, but there's also no residents that are even probably even aware of the ramifications of this request. And, you know, I was hoping the council certainly would have the opportunity to hear from the.
Well, and we'll go
And they will.
because I think we'll let them know it's your recommendation,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and then we'll discuss it there also.
Personally, I've got issues with GC there. I call it GC, I'm sorry, it's CG and Irmo, but it's still the same thing. Residential, I really don't have any issues with that.
So would we need to?
Well, it just
set up our
depends.
ordinance here to recommend, or just we can pass it, what do you recommend?
Well, we first have to either strike the motion or amend the motion, and then move forward from there, just depending on, because right now, as the motion stands, it's to approve this, what's in front of us. So we either need to strike or move, or excuse me,
You can recommend the change, I mean, you guys aren't approving annexations, I mean, they're just,
right, I'm just trying to follow proper procedures where we are right here with a motion and a second.
so you make an
withdraw
amendment,
the motion.
somebody,
We could withdraw the motion, I believe, is that,
I think that's the proper procedure.
no, somebody would make a motion for, an amendment in a second, if you want to change
okay,
zoning, and then vote on that, on the amendment, and then vote on the
Okay.
ordinance changes.
okay, okay. So an amendment to the motion. Is there any additional discussion?
Well, the purpose of annexation is to grow the town in a certain direction. Our general plan for that area is what? What do we want to do there?
Well, we'd love to personally, we would love to have it be included in the town. It's a great area. You've got right around the corner, you've got Walmart and all that in the town. And then if you come back around down 6, where Woodley's is and all that, we're right down there. So it would make sense. They're right there in the middle. I'd love to see us have it. But they may withdraw if we don't, move forward with CG. But again, I got a problem with CG there. The potential for density is just not in line with that area. It's just
What
not.
are the choices for residential again, and the density requirement for each one of those?
RS and RG, RS being the lower
Single family,
density.
And it requires, single family, and the, general residential allow a density of 10, is it 7? I think it's 10. And then general commercial allow 15 units per acre.
And what about the RS? How many units per acre on that?
One.
One per
I think
acre,
it's 4, I'm just kidding, but I think it's 4.
4 per acre.
That's right. I just get them confused, that's all.
It's all right. I don't have I'm sorry, Storm, I left some of my materials at home. Any additional discussion? Well, I'd like to make an amendment to the motion then. And my amendment is to recommend to council at a minimum RS zoning designation. And please pass along, the planning commission would love to have this parcel be included in the town, but we just don't see that general commercial fits well in this area.
Put a maximum of,
4 units per acre, correct?
so you don't want to allow RG either, you want RS only?
10 units per acre.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's whatever y'all want to recommend. I mean,
Well, that's the motion that I'm making.
I second that motion.
Okay.
RS, RG
RS.
only.
RS.
Okay.
And we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. We'll move on to the last item, review of annexation petition for Richland County TMS 03301-02-01, located on East Rear Shoals Road, Irmo, requesting general commercial zoning. This parcel is right next door to the one we just discussed.
Well, they need the first one to be contiguous to the town. The second, the one we did, 0105, is not contiguous. but,
Okay.
0201,
Okay, so do we even need to discuss this then?
you want the same thing.
Yes, we would want the same thing. Do we need to make a,
I'll make a motion to approve and amend D annexation for 033010201 to RS zoning.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Just want to say real quick before we gavel out here that, sitting at the stoplight, Lake Murray Boulevard, Woodrow Street, the last few days, just looking at that old decrepit building just falling down, and I was actually wanting to put something on for the agenda for next time, but I spoke with the mayor and, got the copy and everything. It looks like council's just already on board with this, dilapidated properties, and looks like they've included both residential and commercial properties. So hopefully we'll see something moving along with that soon. And I've actually had some contact with an HOA, and I'm planning on forwarding this to them as well, because they've got some structures. I think you were included on that email with the Hill Creek Homeowners Association. So this is good stuff, glad to see it.
Well, the owner conserves, and he's got until April 15th to clean it up,
Okay,
or possibly come into a contract.
right.
Sell it or do something with it.
Those are 2 great options. No further business in front of us, we'll adjourn.